Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are live here, week 17, and we are about to go live on Instagram as well. And we are officially live on Instagram as well. Hello and welcome to PTW Podcast 17. Believe it or not, folks, we are at week 17. 17 weeks of doing this nonsense. Having a fun time.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
The bio on our Instagram says that a Dolphins fan and a Niner fan make a podcast, and so season wise, it's not been the greatest for us, but it's been an interesting season, nonetheless. Coming off the heels of some Christmas games, the first ever Christmas games, well, not the first ever, but the first ever Christmas games on Netflix. That's the big one. Where just got reported that Netflix combined between the two games. Had 60 plus million viewers watch two
terrible games
of the Chiefs and Steelers,
the crappiest two games,
the Texans and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Although a lot of those folks most likely tuned in to see Beyonce's halftime show, of which I will admit I did not watch. But I know it was the number one trending thing on X/Twitter. But Netflix has Christmas Day NFL for the next 3 years. And if this
making
is
that money,
they're going to make that money. Yeah, I don't know if some of those teams, because the Texans and the Steelers, in fact, I mean, I don't think, the NFL could have scripted it even any better. Those are 4 teams, all with playoff implications. All 4 teams had to win their games. It wasn't like, I don't know, the Jaguars and the freaking, Titans or something. Like they were big games. And yet Steelers turn in a lump of coal on Christmas. The Texans get
so bad.
A nice safety. They get a nice safety.
Yeah, they got a safety. That's it.
And that's it.
So no offensive points for them.
Your thoughts on those 2 games? We'll talk about the Chiefs in a second, but overall, your thoughts on those 2 games?
Honestly, like it was hard to watch, to be honest. Like I was kind of like, it's Christmas Day, right? Like you're there with your family, you're doing stuff, and you're not trying to like sit around and watch football. So I guess in that sense, it was good because the games are pretty bad. But the cool thing about them streaming is that it's on Netflix. Like you could just like pop your phone open, and I would just like start streaming it, watching it for a few minutes, like while people are opening gifts or whatever they're doing, or
I'm glad you're paying attention while your family was opening gifts, and you were looking at
watching some football and like like on mute, a little CC action, closed caption,
Oh God, I hate closed caption on football. By the way, I can't.
So slow.
It's so, someone has to live type what the person is saying. So like, I get that part, but it's still like agonizing because it's like talking about a play that happened 25 seconds ago, it's just like,
exactly. I'm like, okay, I've moved on. I've moved
AI,
on.
by the way, is going to replace, is going to make that better. Like it's, and that's
true. That's one thing.
Anyone out of a job. I don't wish on anyone.
Poor guy.
AI is legit.
Captioning guy.
Full on write it out like the second you say a word and like half a second later it's up on screen. But go ahead, sorry.
He's done. The old closed captioning guy's done. No, but as far as the games go, like you said, the Pittsburgh game was kind of close in the beginning, and then Chiefs just ran away with it in the end, and Baltimore just completely blew out the Texans. Honestly, it was like 8-2 for the longest time, and then Baltimore just started scoring, and then both games second half it was just ended very quickly for both teams. Like basically Kansas City and Baltimore kind of like stepped on the throttle, and that was the end. That was all she wrote for those teams. So honestly, with Baltimore, it looks like they're going to win their division now. So that's pretty much in the cards. They battled all the way back, and they were down a couple games to Pittsburgh, and now it looks like they're gonna take the AFC North, and then Kansas City, man. Well, what can you say? They're the number 1 seed. Yeah. They're starting to get stronger. They kind of like went through all their lumps in the beginning of the season. They were getting lucky. They're doing this.
This is what
and now
they show up in December and January, man.
They do.
is what they
They
do.
do.
The
And now
Chiefs
they just look ready.
do clinch the number 1 seed in the AFC. Let's talk about this because all season, someone made a video on Instagram or on YouTube Shorts, one of those platforms. It's all over the internet where they basically show every possible scenario where the Chiefs could have lost and or should have lost. And instead of being 14-1, they were 7-7 or something like that. Like they are one play away from being
49ers
third place in the AFC East.
Yeah.
Third place in the AFC West, excuse me,
Yeah.
versus number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes things just have to go your way, right? But
Yep.
this is a team that, you know, push comes to shove. I think again they find ways in December and January, and now it gets things, and that now makes things very interesting. When you clinch the number 1 seed, someone on the internet today brought this up, and I want to talk to you about this. So someone made a very good point. If the Chiefs rest their starters in week 18, okay, which most likely, I mean, why would they play Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and et cetera, when you've already clinched number 1, you've already clinched your bye, you're good. But they did the math, and it would be somewhere around 24 days before they would play a football game if they did that. Because they played today, or not today, sorry, yesterday, Christmas Day, right? And then they wouldn't play until week 2 of the playoff schedule.
It would be happened to the Niners last year.
And and the question is, does that give them rust? Is that a good call, or should they play? Because for someone like me, who's a Dolphins fan, if the Broncos lose this week, tomorrow, versus the Cincinnati Bengals, which theoretically they could, right? Bengals look really good. The Dolphins, and if the Dolphins beat the Browns, the Dolphins then need Kansas City to beat Denver in week 18.
Yeah.
And if that happens and the Dolphins take care of business against the Jets, oh, and by the way, if Indianapolis loses a game, the Dolphins get the playoffs. They get the number, then they get the number 7 seed. So so many things that happen, but again, there's like playoff implications, not just for my team, but like multiple teams.
Yeah.
Like, do the Chiefs rest their starters, or do they actually play and try to win in week 18?
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point. I don't think they're going to try to win. I think they're going to rest their. I think they've done it in the past. They've rested their guys. Like Kelsey will rest.
That's a lot of days, though, man. That's a long time to not play football.
Yeah, honestly, they're like they've been so used to this, right? And going through this.
Like this is like
for them, it doesn't really matter. They could probably take a month off and come out and play well. It's they're right now they're the team that basically owns the NFL, and
they just know
someone's gonna have to knock them off.
They know how to do it.
It's like the Patriots.
Yeah,
they basically took over the Patriots mantle here.
Absolutely. It's like it's like, I mean, they've squeaked by all season, but here they go. They clinched the number 1 seed. Buffalo has no shot. Now Buffalo has to, if they win and the AFC Championship game becomes Buffalo versus KC, Buffalo's going to have to go to Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
To do that. So like all that talk of the Buffalo's winning the Super Bowl, Buffalo's going to get in the Super Bowl, they're going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. There's a big question mark on that now. Right?
There's a big question about what Buffalo does the next couple of weeks, right? Like, are they going to go out and play Josh Allen? Like, he hurt his hand last game, and as someone who plays fantasy and has Josh Allen in the fantasy finals with him as my quarterback, I'm worried about that, right? I'm like, is this guy going to play the whole game? And like, these are the kind of questions people are asking, right? Like, why would he even play? What does it have? Why would he play the whole game? 17 and 18. They have like basically there's nothing at stake.
They've got 2 cakewalk games to finish the season. They've got the Jets, and then they go to the Patriots.
Yeah,
and that's it.
So they're gonna they could sleep probably and win both games. So
because as far as the AFC goes, I don't think there's any other team that's close to unseating them as the number 2 seed. I think. What's the Ravens' record? The Ravens are, where are they? 11-5. No. So the Ravens can unseat them because the Ravens are 11-5 right now.
Well, the Bills are 12-3.
12-3, yes.
Yeah. So the Bills would have to lose both games.
Yep.
And the Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens are.
So there's some incentive for them to play.
Wait, the Ravens already played though. So what are the Ravens? They're 11-5. You said
they're 11-5 right now. Bills are 2-3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they couldn't catch them. They could.
They could because they could be 12-5 and 12-5, right? Yeah. But then the question is, and I don't know the answer to this question, who would get the 2 seed if that were?
Yeah, it would probably have to be based on division record,
and all that. Yeah. But nonetheless,
and the Bills would, if they lost both games, they're both division games, so that would definitely affect their division record
big time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
potentially
tough to play for. I think maybe
if they this week,
if they win this week, they lock down the 2. They lock down the 2, right?
That's a good sign for us.
So they'll probably play this week. Josh Allen will most likely play this week. It's the Jets, it's the division game, and it's home, right? So that's another big. And then you go on the road to finish the season to get the Patriots, play your backups, whatever.
I think so too.
You've already locked up. The 2 seed. You're gonna play next week. You're gonna play the 7 seed, whoever the 7 seed is. It might be Miami.
Yeah, but it could be Miami or Cincinnati
or Denver or
Indy.
Yeah, it's
Chargers.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Right? Options.
No, but as far as the Bills go, you'll be fine, right? And then follow up with that. We'll see where that goes. Fantasy wise, what are the implications for what is going on?
Yeah.
Explain to me. Is this is this the week of is this
so honestly, most leagues will do their finals this week. Some people do a 2-week final, which I don't like because we're talking about that second week could be all backups, and it's happened so many times in week 18. And then other leagues that have week 18 as their finals, a lot of times they're missing half their team. So best time to have it is this week, week 17. Most people do. Our league does. I'm in 2 finals. Both teams I have Josh Allen, and we will see what happens. But I've got some decisions to make myself. I've already I had Joe Mixon go already, and he had a terrible game. Luckily, the guy I'm playing against has Nico Collins, so Nico kind of balanced out because Nico Collins had an okay game, but nothing great. And again tonight, we didn't talk about was this Seattle Bears game, but that game was just terrible. Not really anything happened, and the guy that I'm going against had DJ Moore, and I decided to pick up and play Zach Charbonnet when I found Kenneth Walker was out, and I thought that was a good play because Chicago's pretty bad against the run. Charbonnet, when he's had the backfield to himself, he's gotten 15 points or more. He even had 40 points a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and
he just laid an egg, basically had 10 points, which is really not great, but not gonna help me really.
Yeah.
So just luckily it's kind of balanced out in my case, but I think moving forward it's I made these decisions and I've got a lot of guys on my bench. I picked up J.K. Dobbins, who now with Gus Edwards out, he might be back this week, so that might be a sneaky play for people. We'll see if he gets activated tomorrow, but I had him, and I had Ford on my bench from the Browns, who I picked up, and he's been good. And so I decided to go with Charbonnet, and it looks like that was probably going to be a mistake because I'm sure that Ford or Dobbins is probably going to have a better game. My issue is too, I've got a lot of receivers, right? So I've got Devontae Adams, who's questionable. A lot of people are looking at him is he going to play or not? Especially the Jets don't have a lot to play. They have anything to play for. If he's hurt, he might not try to play through it. No. So we got that, and then we got T. Higgins, who's also questionable, and they're in that. I think T. Higgins is more likely to play if he can because the Bengals have a lot more to play for. So hopefully he does play, but the guy I'm going against has Burrow and Chase. So if Higgins is out, and then I got to go against the Burrow Chase without Higgins, then that's going to spell trouble.
And they definitely have something to play for.
Yeah. So
could you imagine if not to change the subject here, but could you imagine if things work out for the Bengals and they somehow make the playoffs?
Yeah, it'd be pretty amazing,
That is
to
a
be
very
honest.
realistic possibility right now. This is a team that
Yeah.
was 4-8 a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we talked about it. We went through it. We said they could be 9-8 and end up sneaking into the playoffs. I think we talked about it
They
like
have a very
when they
real
were 0
shot,
and
man.
4.
If they beat the Broncos, they have a very,
Yeah,
very real shot because their week
that's
18 game is against the Steelers. And the
yeah.
Steelers the last 2 weeks have
They
not
haven't
looked
looked good.
great. They have
No,
not looked great.
their defense doesn't look good. Their offense doesn't look good. I don't know. The Steelers are kind of they're hitting that rust wall.
Yeah, something's happening there.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on. So I know that we were talking about the Steelers potentially a couple weeks ago. Like, hey, could they be a dark horse Super Bowl contender? And they don't look anything but they
Not
look
when
more
you've
like
lost 3 in a row.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they're kind of on their way down. They're probably going to end up with a wild card seed, get bounced in the first round of the playoffs in my mind. So
Yeah.
I think that's where the Steelers are going to be at. I think who's going to advance is Baltimore, Buffalo, and the Texans don't look good right now. They look pretty sorry too.
No.
So if the Steelers end up in that fifth seed when they're playing, if they get to play the Texans, they do have a chance to actually get through to the other. Because the sixth seed is going to be interesting to see if it's going to be the Chargers, the Broncos, type of thing, or the Colts. So a lot to
Well,
be
the
said
Colts, I
in
think
in the
at
in the playoffs.
the Colts at best, I think, can be 7. They can't be 6.
Okay, so
So
it's
so it's
between the
either yeah.
Chargers and the Broncos.
I mean, if the Chargers and the Broncos both lose out, if they both
Yeah.
go to 9-8, okay, and the Colts make it to 9-8, then there's a question of the 6 seed. Or if the Dolphins make it to 9-8, there's the question of going to 6 seed. Or the Bengals. I mean, I'm going to share my screen for a second. You have 3 teams here who are all on the verge. I mean, it is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely incredible here.
Yeah. Chargers
These
get to
3
play the
teams.
Patriots this week, so I think
Yeah,
yeah,
they do.
I think
But
they're
hey,
gonna
man,
win.
the Patriots took
Yeah,
Buffalo to town for a few quarters here,
they
right?
did. They did.
Not to say that like the Patriots are like awesome, but like, whatever. They're not like a cakewalk either, I feel like.
No.
And the Chargers, look, I have sung the praises of Jim Harbaugh like all season,
Mm-hmm.
and they have been winning with Jim Harbaugh formula football, running the
Mm-hmm.
ball, et cetera, et cetera.
Defense.
But,
Mm-hmm.
but like of the 7 teams that are in the playoffs right now, if you want to talk about like unsexy, you're
Yeah,
talking about the
it's
Chargers.
the Chargers. Yeah,
You're talking about the
just
Chargers. They are the most
that's how
bread
they've
and
been all
butter.
year. Yeah,
They're the most bread and butter team in the NFL. Like that's my best way of
but
explaining
he
it. Like
knows how to win, and that way of
he's
playing
freaking great, bro.
wins
Yeah,
playoff games. So if
yeah.
I'm like the Ravens and I'm the 3 seed and I have to play the Chargers, I'm worried
Mhm.
for the
Yeah.
Baltimore because the Chargers can grind
Dude,
out
brother
those
versus
that
brother
game.
again, man.
Yeah,
Brother
and
versus brother again.
Harbaugh Jim has not beaten John Harbaugh at all. They've played when he was with the Niners.
Mhm.
They lost the Super Bowl. They lost the Thanksgiving game, and they've also
Yep,
lost this
yep.
year's game. So he's 0-3. So man, he might be due. So I can see it, man, where he gets in and the Ravens get bounced in the first round again. Oh man, that'll be a huge disappointment for Baltimore and Lamar. Like, you kidding me again?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
that'd be bad. But
There's
I think
I mean,
legitimately that could happen.
yeah, I mean, it's incredible when you look at the AFC standings here. Like these 5 teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, and the Steelers locked. They are in the playoffs, no questions
Yeah.
asked.
Mm-hmm.
NFC side, Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Packers, which is hilarious because 3 of those teams are from the same goddamn division, are all locked into
Yeah.
the playoffs there.
Yeah.
But this in the hunt just fascinates me. This in the hunt and on the bubble fascinates me because
Yeah.
Buccaneers, first and foremost. I mean, let's talk about that. We didn't even get to talk about that. Let's talk about
Yeah. We didn't.
Bucks and Cowboys because
They
my God,
lost to the
like
Cowboys.
they're driving downfield. Baker Mayfield's super super excited. Like they got the first down. Whatever. Fumbles the ball. Like no one saw
Yeah.
this fumble, and the Cowboys end up with the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and the
And it's
Bucks
game over.
are game over, and the Michael Penix Jr. led Atlanta Falcons are the top
Somehow.
team, or the division leaders right now in the NFC South.
Yeah. But
That's
I don't think
incredible.
they're gonna win this week. I have a feeling that they're gonna lose this week.
Who's they? Atlanta or Tampa?
Atlanta, yeah. Tampa has a way easier schedule. I think Tampa plays Carolina, who Carolina has been playing better. You know, they've been sneaky good actually the last like few weeks, and they did upset Arizona. So there's a chance that Tampa Bay loses and Atlanta wins, and Tampa Bay ends up out of the playoffs,
So
which
check
would
it
be
out. I got
crazy.
the NFL playoff machine right here by ESPN. So let's
Yeah,
have some fun here. It's week
yeah.
17. Okay, so we're gonna say, let's just say for fun that Atlanta beats Washington. I don't think it's gonna happen.
That's
But
not gonna happen.
let's just say for fun it
We
happens.
talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. If Atlanta beats Washington, let's say Tampa beats Carolina.
Yeah.
And I think the Rams will beat the Cardinals, Bills will beat the Jets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think the Lions are beating the Niners.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Who do you think wins the Packers Vikings game?
The Vikings.
You think so?
Yeah.
The
Yeah. I
I
think
don't
the
know.
Packers are a lot of smoke
Packers
and
are sneaky
mirrors.
right now, man. I think they're
Yeah,
sneaky.
they played a terrible New Orleans team on Monday night. They were terrible. They're terrible.
They are bad.
Terrible. Spencer Rattler's terrible.
Let's say the
Absolutely
Vikings then.
horrific.
Okay. Let's say the
I
Dolphins
think the
beat
Vikings are
the
gonna win.
Browns. Let's say the Colts beat the Giants, although I need the Colts to lose a game. Let's say the Eagles bounce back against the Cowboys, although Hurts is questionable.
Hurts is not gonna play.
He's
I
not going to
actually have a
play.
feeling that the Cowboys are gonna win this game. It's gonna be very hard for Philly
I
to
agree with you.
win this game
I'm
without
going to say it's the
Hurts.
Cowboys. I'm going to say it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Raiders, Saints, toss up. We'll say Raiders. Okay.
Yeah, Raiders are gonna win that game.
And then we'll say Chargers, Patriots. The Chargers beat the Patriots. Okay. So that gives us, after week 17, Denver as the 7 seed.
Yeah.
Buffalo as the 2. Los Angeles as the 6. So Denver versus Buffalo. Los Angeles versus the Chargers versus the Ravens. The Steelers versus the Texans. Ooh, that's a bad game. The Steelers.
Yeah. Yeah, Steelers are going to win that game.
100%. And then in the NFC, we have Washington visiting Philadelphia. Washington, who, by the way, just beat Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting in that aspect.
I mean, they should. If Hurts doesn't get concussed, I think they win that game. Philly.
Yeah.
That was a just Philly just could not do anything on offense, and it just allowed Washington to systematically come back. So I think
Green Bay.
Honestly, Philly would win that game if Hurts is back.
If Hurts is back. Green Bay versus the Rams, and then Minnesota versus Atlanta as the 4 seed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if Atlanta
Rams are going to win that game.
If Atlanta loses that game, right?
The last game.
No. If Atlanta loses the game against Washington,
okay,
then it gets flipped. Washington becomes the 6th seed. It becomes Commanders versus Rams and Packers versus Eagles.
Yeah.
And then it becomes Minnesota versus Tampa, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, like, the Rams, if they're winning the NFC West, if they got to win out because Seattle won tonight. If they're winning the NFC West, they're gonna probably win the first game of the play. They're gonna win that home game. Rams have a good team. Yeah, so whoever they play, whether it be Washington or whoever that
it was Green Bay. If Atlanta won, it'd be Green Bay and the Rams, which is very interesting.
I think they're. Honestly, I think the Rams would beat Green Bay too. Like I do.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, I would see the Vikings would definitely win against the Falcons. I mean,
let's go to week 18 here.
Or Tampa Bay.
Houston beats the Tennessee Titans. Let's say Atlanta beats Carolina, although Carolina's a tough team now. Let's say the Bucs beat the Saints. Oh, that means the Week 18 game comes between the Seahawks and the Rams.
Yeah. Well, the Rams have to win. That's what I'm saying. Like the Rams have to win
lose against
this
Seattle.
week.
No.
Have to win.
Oh,
the Rams have to. Well, Seattle already won, right? So they have to win this week.
They have to win
in order to. Yeah, in order to stay in.
If they lose against the Cardinals,
and
the Rams are officially out. The Rams are out, and the Seahawks win the division.
Yeah, that's if Seattle. Yeah, Seattle would have to.
Yeah,
beat them though.
No.
Even if Seattle lost to them.
Yes. And so, you're right, 100%. So that final game, if the Rams lose this week against the Cardinals, that final Seattle versus that final Week 18 game between the Seahawks and the Rams is for not only the division but the playoff spot as well, right?
Yeah.
Let's say
what if they win this week? The Rams win this week.
If the Rams win this week, then they're in the playoffs regardless.
Really?
Yes, because if Seattle wins, the Rams become the 4 seed, but the Seattle's still out.
Wait, so if Seattle beats the Rams next week?
So if the Rams win against the Cardinals,
in
Week 18, if Seattle beats the Rams, they're still not in.
Wow.
They're still not in.
What's Seattle's record compared to the Rams? What's the Rams' record right now?
They would both be 10-7. Right now, the Seahawks are 9-7.
Yeah.
The Rams are 9-6. After this game, if they lose this game, they'll be 9-7. They'll be if they win this game, excuse me,
they'll be 10-6.
They'll be 10-6.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And they have the tiebreaker already.
They have the tiebreaker against the Seattle. So for Seattle to have a chance, the Rams have to lose this week.
Is there any combination of like division games that could be maybe determine the tiebreaker differently? I wonder, because if you think about it, like there could be, if they have the same record, it could be if some of these results could change.
Let's think. Who could affect it, right? Oh, it could be wild card, right? So let's say if the Commanders lose, let's say if Commanders lose against Cowboys, that brings Tampa to the 7th seed. All right.
Yeah.
Let's say if the Commanders lose against, well, I already have them losing against the Falcons. So let's say, if the Commanders lose out, they're out of the playoffs and Tampa's in.
Yeah. And Atlanta's in.
That's if Tampa wins. If Tampa loses to Carolina, Commanders
and Washington's in. Yeah. So Seattle basically needs the Rams to lose on Sunday.
I'm going to see if there's any other combination. Hold on. Let's see if no, not that. Let's see if the Falcons lose here. The Rams are in, but Seahawks still are not. The Seahawks need the Rams to lose this week. That's it.
That's great. Yeah.
If the Rams win this week, the Seahawks are out.
The Rams are going to win the division.
Rams are in, and
it's crazy, man. The Rams are like done, and it's crazy that they've come all the way back.
Oh yeah.
And you look at that. It goes back to that Week 2 game against the Niners, man. Like the Niners basically could have put them at or I think it was Week 3, could have put them at 0-5, because to start the season they were 1-4, and they could have been 0-5. Niners,
you mean Week 6 then?
No, I think it was the way that the Rams started out. They got that one win against the Niners. That was like the only one they got to start the season.
Yeah,
and so they lost everything else. I'm just saying, they would have been 0-5 to start the season instead of 1-4, which is basically what's going to get them into the playoffs. Is that one win against the Niners when the Niners blew that 10-point lead? It's like if you look at like that compared to like the Chiefs, like we were talking about the Chiefs earlier, like the Chiefs won all those games, and the Niners lost all those games. So the Chiefs being out of the playoffs and being like last in the division, like the Niners, they're gonna number one in the division and they're the top number one seed, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Niners basically lost all these games they should have won and they could have won, and now they're pretty much out of the playoffs.
Check this out. So you're right,
Yeah.
100%. So the Rams started the season 0-2. They win versus the Niners in LA.
Yep.
And then they lose the following 2 games to the Bears of all teams. And the Packers, they go to 1-4. They then win 3 games in a row, only to lose to Miami on Monday night. That's kind of where Miami's resurgence started, was that Rams game.
Yeah.
They beat the Patriots, they lose to the Eagles, and then they have won every game since. They've won 4 in a row. Saints, Bills, Niners, Jets.
Yep. And that Niners game was huge too, because the Niners, like, that was to see who was going to get back to 500, right? And who was going to be, and the Rams won that game, and it was an ugly way that they won the game.
Yeah.
It was a field goal game, no touchdowns. It was like probably one of the worst games I've ever been to, as far as like from just like a fan perspective, like watching a game. It was just terrible. It was a terrible game. It was a game the Niners should have won. They were dominating the Rams like the whole game. Their defense was smothering, and Debo drops a pass. Brock throws a stupid interception, and look, now the Rams are going to be basically the 3 seed. After that, so it's just crazy. Just like, and that wasn't too long ago. That was just a couple weeks ago. It's like how these things go. And how you feel like the teams are out of it, and they really. You gotta wait. Week 15, 16 is like when you're really gonna make these decisions.
100%. Yes. The playoffs. I feel like we're getting to the point with the NFL. Obviously, you have to win games. You can't
give away the games.
You can't go 2-12 and then expect to make the playoffs. But like, you can be 4-8 and have a chance at the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You can start 1-5.
1-5.
1-5.
Yeah.
And 1-4, and like
the Bengals
have a shot, and really, like, if you play winning, this is why, like I was saying again, like you just harped on the Niners. I'm going to harp on the Dolphins for a second. Like, I hate this narrative of like, I'm not a fan of my team anymore in the beginning of the season, because it doesn't matter. I don't care if you won all your games in September, because it doesn't matter. I don't care if unless they're division games, then they matter. Like, so you're 4-1 at the end of the first 5 games. So effing what? You know what I mean? Like, you need to be winning football games in late November, December, January. Like Thanksgiving on. That's when like the slate of games becomes really, really important. It's like those are the games you win. And that's when like the weather sucks. That's when the physical teams take over. Like, that's where that sort of football comes into play, right?
Yeah, if you think about it, like, you could lose 7 games and still win 10. At this point, like, right? So it's like you get a 10-win team, and that team's probably going to make the playoffs, right?
Yes,
so it's just what it is, and like, so you look at all these games, and you look at the season as it goes, and you're like, well, you have this, it's just a couple games here and there that's going to decide whether or not you're 10-7 or you're 6 and 6-11, or 7-10. It's just a couple of games.
The math is still weird for me, by the way. The fact that they changed it from 16 games to 17 games, it still weirds me out.
Like, still like,
I had 30 plus years of like, 11-5, 12-4, 13-3, and now like, oh wait, no, it's 13-4. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not a nice.
You're gonna add that 18th game too, buddy. Then you got to
10-7.
Rethink it.
There's no 500. You can't be 500 anymore. You can't be 8-8.
Well, you will be. Like I'm saying, they're gonna add that 18th game. That's coming. That's coming down the pike real soon.
I wouldn't be surprised, but if they did that, I wouldn't be surprised also if they added a second bye.
They got to add a second bye. Yeah. If they add a second bye, I think it'd be, that was the Thursday nights thrown in. Then you just get rid of another preseason game. So you only have 2 preseason games, and then because right now they have 3.
The first month of the NFL is preseason anyway.
Exactly.
We've talked about this.
And that's the interesting thing.
Garbage football.
It really is.
It's so horrible.
But those games matter, right? So these guys like give away these early games, like the Niners gave away these early games, and then it hurts you down the line. Like
Yes.
these games you should have won, you could have won, and then you lose them because you're not ready.
Every game matters. I take back everything I said. My point was foot and mouth right now. My point was that like you can start out slow.
You can, yeah,
and have this trajectory of like finishing strong. It's better than starting out strong like the Eagles did last year and all of a sudden peter out. You know,
which you can do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like those top teams, like look at the Vikings. They started off so hot and they just rode that momentum all the way through to the end, right?
What's gonna happen with Sam Darnold next year?
Yeah, he's gonna get paid. He's like,
by who?
He's honestly, there's a lot of teams that want him. Supposedly, I was reading today that he's.
If you were the Vikings, would you let him walk?
Free agent quarterback.
If you were the Vikings, would you let him walk?
Probably not.
I wouldn't.
They've got a lot of questions now.
It's like, oh, we got this quarterback.
They
so
got JJ McCarthy. So
we'll what? See. There's no guarantee he's going to be good.
And they got Daniel Jones.
Whatever. There's no guarantee that he's good. That JJ McCarthy is going to be good.
Yeah, there is none.
Why not have him sit behind Sam Darnold? You know, like sign
Darnold. Like how long are they going to sign him for? Like a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal?
3-year deal.
Okay, fair enough.
Have him sign a 3-year deal with like an out in the third year. With like an out in the third year. You have McCarthy learn from Darnold, right? Like the same thing that happened with Mahomes. The same thing. Every single quarterback who's good in this league learned from someone else. Okay.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger was the kind of outlier of that situation, as was really that class. Hold on a second. That whole Manning, Rivers, and Roethlisberger, those three, take them out of the equation. Everyone else needs to learn from other other quarterbacks.
I'll tell you what's wrong with that. And it's the financial, the pay that you can pay your quarterback.
You're not paying Sam Darnold $60 million. There's no way.
Well, but I'm saying what they're paying the rookie. Like, so when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal,
they're paying him $25 million.
Well, JJ McCarthy, right? They're paying him very little, and so they could build a big roster around him. So like that's something that they want. That's why they get these quarterbacks on the rookie deals, and then they like to fill out the rest of their roster. So like that's what the Niners did. So
$21 million deal with JJ McCarthy. Okay.
So you're gonna lose that if you sign Sam Darnold to a 4-year or 3-year deal. You're gonna lose his rookie contract, and then you're gonna have to sign McCarthy without even knowing how good he is really to an extension, not knowing.
No, you franchise tag him.
He's gonna.
You franchise tag him in the
I don't know if that's. You could.
You franchise tag him in the 5th year, right? You pay Justin Jefferson. You're gonna give Justin Jefferson already got paid, right?
He did, yeah.
He already got paid.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got Jefferson the ridiculous contract.
You got him locked, right?
Yeah.
That's right. He got paid first. I remember now. He got paid first before all the other receivers. So you got Jefferson locked. I would do, if you're Sam Darnold, wouldn't you want to run it back? Like, do you want to really roll the dice and go play for like the Tennessee Titans?
The Niners? They're talking about bringing it back to the Niners.
No, I wouldn't. Because you don't know if you're going to have the same level of success. You're not going to have a Justin Jefferson with the Niners. You're not going to have a Justin Jefferson with the Tennessee Titans. You're not going to have you're not going to have any of that.
Jordan Addison or TJ Hawkins.
2-year.
They got a lot.
Do a 2-year contract. Do a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
Get whatever. I don't know, 20 million a season or 30 million, whatever the fuck whatever the hell you can get. You're going to pay Sam Darnold. You're going to pay Sam Darnold.
He's going to get $40 million a year. Mark my words, bro. Dude, Dak Prescott's getting like 60, bro. You don't think Sam Darnold, after seeing that, after leaving the team,
is a franchise quarterback. I don't think even with the season Sam Darnold's having right now, Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, but that's not what his agent's going to say.
Here's my question to you. Do you think, and put your bias aside, because I know the Seahawks are in the division. Put your bias aside for 2 seconds, okay? Is Geno Smith a franchise quarterback?
Well, the Seahawks he is.
is he?
He's not in my mind, though.
In the scope of the NFL.
Yeah.
When we're talking franchise quarterback, we're talking Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. We're talking, lesser than quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young. I think is kind of proving his point in Carolina. Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud to a lesser extent.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy is in that. Brock Purdy for sure. I think is in that second tier. Is Geno Smith a franchise quarterback, or is he a stopgap quarterback? I know they paid him like one, but is he one?
No, he's not.
I don't think so.
But
I would argue that Sam Darnold is in that same league. No, because he had a really good season with Seattle, and they paid him.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't think then Minnesota should pay Darnold if they want to keep him?
Did they give him a massive contract? What's Geno's contract?
Geno
Smith's contract is a 3-year, $75 million contract.
Yeah,
3 years, $75 million.
Okay, so they got 25 a year. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You can do 25 a year. You can give him a Geno Smith contract.
What's Baker getting right now? Because
Baker got
Sam Darnold could easily say, I'm better than Geno Smith. Nobody led their team.
I would argue Baker is a franchise quarterback. I would argue Baker's a franchise quarterback for the Bucs. I would argue that he is.
Yeah.
I think Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are like this. Like, it just fit. The way it didn't fit for Carolina, it didn't fit for the Rams, but when he got to the Bucs and it just worked, right? It just like I think he needed that right environment. Cleveland is kicking themselves
right now, man. Baker's a player. Cleveland effed that up so bad, man.
Oh,
they really shit the bed. They made it brown.
Is Sam Darnold gonna go to Cleveland and like make them a better team? No.
Well, they already came out and said Deshaun Watson's their quarterback
for next year. They have no choice. Mm-hmm. Like, what are they gonna do?
It's true.
So if I'm Sam Darnold, I have two choices. Do I either want to run it back and have a really good shot at repeating the success that you're having this year?
Yeah.
Or do I want more money and go play for a perennial team that's going to be 9-8, 500, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more? I'd rather win. I'd rather win and like cement my legacy a little bit. But
yeah,
I'm not an NFL quarterback, so what the hell do I know?
Darnold. They're saying Sam Darnold go back to the Jets.
Sam Darnold already got paid, man. He's already gotten his money.
Yeah. Kind of.
Plus his contract with the Vikings this year is a $10 million contract, bro. Like he's getting paid. It's not like he's getting paid
peanuts. Compared to what Dak is getting at 60 is crazy, though. I mean, considering the success he's had compared to Dak this year.
Yeah, Sam Darnold signed a 4-year, $30 million with the Jets, a $30 million contract with the Jets. He signed a 1-year, $4.5 million with the Niners, and now he signed a $10 million with the Vikings. He's chilling.
Yeah,
get some more money.
He probably thinks he's worth more. I bet you he wants $40 million, and that's I'm telling you, he's gonna get it from either the Vikings, or if the Vikings stick with him, or he's gonna get somewhere else. $40 million.
Yeah, I don't know. Because if I'm a Vikings fan, which I'm not, but my wife's cousin is a hardcore Vikings fan. It makes me, it would make me queasy a little bit. It would make me queasy a little bit. The thought of, because what if you win a playoff game? What if you win a playoff game? You kind of had this in Case Keenum. Remember this? They kind of had this in Case Keenum.
Same guy.
Case Keenum won them playoff game. Took them to didn't they go to the NFC Championship game?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
They went to the NFC Championship game.
They had that miracle game.
And they bring in Cousins, and I mean, Cousins was great, but like he never took them to the level that Case Keenum of all quarterbacks did. I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying Case Keenum
Cousins has never been a big game quarterback. Kirk Cousins.
I'm not sitting here saying
Kirk Cousins Keenum is done, bro. He's like, I like that, and then we're like, no, you're done.
He's coming off of a major injury, dude.
He's done.
He's coming off of a major. That's like saying Aaron Rodgers. That's like saying
Aaron Rodgers is done. Put a fork in him too.
He's not done.
Give him some drugs.
Everyone said the same thing about Russ, and granted, they've lost 3 games, but
Russ has had maybe one good game. The other games he's like kind of managed.
Oh, come on. You were singing his praises like weeks ago, dude. Stop.
He did have one good game.
You were singing his freaking praises. You were sitting and telling me how I was right about my prediction at the beginning of the season.
Oh, you were for a couple weeks.
Stop it. I love this whole narrative of like,
we got to get back to this.
What have you done for me lately?
This. Yeah.
This narrative.
So
anyway,
we got.
Well, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I've got my last decisions to make to decide if I'm gonna win my fantasy football league or not. I got to decide between. I've got Devontae Adams. I've got T. Higgins. I've got Tyreek Hill. Like, are any of these guys going to do anything all year? Or am I finally going to get one like big game from one of these jerks? But we'll see.
Maybe Tyreek might ball out this week.
I think Tyreek Hill is due for a big game. He's due.
Yeah. It's against the Browns.
You think so? You're a Dolphins fan. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know, man. Every single time I've had a little bit of hope in this team, they
got to go to Cleveland and play in.
They've taken crap all over my hopes and dreams, man. So
do you think they're going to lose to what's his name? Dorian Thompson?
No. I don't think they're going to lose. I think.
I don't even know his name. The poor.
I think
so bad. He's like one of the worst NFL quarterbacks ever.
I think run the ball, I think the Dolphins will win the next 2 games. I'm not worried about them finishing.
Who are they playing last? The Jets?
The Jets in New York. Yeah, I'm not.
They'll win that game. I bet Aaron Rodgers won't even play.
Well, here's the thing.
And Devontae, they'll probably sit all their guys.
If the Colts lose by some miracle, if the Colts lose to the Giants,
it's not going to happen.
Or the Jaguars. Hey, they could lose against the Jaguars.
They could lose to the Jaguars.
They could, Jaguars could play spoilers, right?
Colts are losing to the Giants. The Giants are a terrible, terrible, terrible football team, and they're tanking for the number 1 pick. They want the number 1 pick.
If
they're losing no matter what, they're purposely trying to lose right now. There's no way that they're going to win this game.
No, the Giants are not going to win. The Giants are not going to win.
But don't get your hopes up for that one.
No, I won't. But if the Colts win or lose, in week 18 against the Jaguars, the Dolphins should have the 7th seed. I don't know why it's not showing up that they're not going to have the 7th seed, but they should have the 7th seed.
Yeah.
Oh,
what about how did the Bengals get in is the question.
The Bengals get in, I believe. So the Bengals have to beat the Broncos in week 17. No question. I think the Bengals have to win out. So the Bengals have to beat the Steelers. And
which they'll probably do.
So here's what needs to happen. Miami needs to lose a game.
It's not going to happen.
The Colts need to lose a game.
Yeah,
and
it's not going to happen.
Either the Broncos or the Chargers need to lose both their games. That's the only way the Bengals make it.
Yeah, I think that the Broncos are actually going to get the last seed because Kansas City's going to sit their starters and they're going to lose the last game of the season, which is annoying.
Unfortunately,
if
that does happen, because if the Broncos do lose this week against the Bengals, which they will, I think is a possibility, right?
Yeah.
If they beat Kansas City, the Broncos get the 7th seed, regardless of what happens. Yeah, regardless of anything else.
So that's probably how it's going to play out. I bet you the Bengals will lose this week. Like, dude, it's like typical NFL bullshit. Like, I guarantee that the Bengals are going to win this week.
They'll win this week, and then it'll go to week 18 shenanigans.
There'll be all this
where they'll we got the 1 seed already. Don't need to do anything.
And then they'll win, and it'll be over. And I think LA's going to win this week. They're playing the Patriots. They're going to blow them out, and it's going to be the grinded out Harbaugh. I'm thinking maybe J.K. Dobbins has a big game, so we'll see if he gets activated.
We'll see. Tasso, it has been close to 50 minutes that we have flapped our lips, about anything and everything that is football. If you enjoyed our conversation about Week 17. Friendly reminder to like and subscribe to the PTW podcast on YouTube and here on Instagram as well.
Yeah,
we like the fact
give
that
give us those hearts.
Give us some hearts.
Hearts.
Like this page, like our page, follow.
Pod.
Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about our random shenanigans, our thoughts, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We will be back for Week 18, the final week of the NFL. Before we get to the playoffs, until next time, my name is Amir. This is Toss the Football Greek. And we will see you all next time. Take care.
Peace out.